ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the Dallas Cowboys 2003-2024 season predictions. Dak Prescott, life after for Zeke. And, that's how we're going to get started. Before we do that, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up, and let's go ahead and get into it. So, Mr. Dak Prescott, one of the biggest things that I've come to notice over the years is when the game is on the line, Dak Prescott has a historic value in not being able to pull off those big games. Now, whether or not it has to do with talent, because I do think there's a big difference between obviously having talent and just being a dog, right? Will yourself to win. Obviously, last season, he was injured, had issues with interceptions, things like that. But, hey, we're moving on to a new year. But I want to say the biggest thing to me is his ability to finish, right? Just because you run on that field, you practiced, you throw on that jersey, being able to finish is the most important part of the game. Doesn't matter how many yards you get, doesn't matter how many completions you get. If you can't move that ball and get to the end zone, you're not going to win the game. Shout out to Al Bundy, says him and Romo. Y'all are already getting started. Listen, I'm not trying to beat up Dak Prescott. I know the Cowboys fans are going to come for me after this. I'm really not. I'm trying to stay even keeled. Y'all know y'all know we joke over here and all that. But I'm trying to stay even keeled, and I'm really trying to be as delicate as I can, because I really just feel like when it comes down to it in clutch moments, Dak just has not found that fight, that dog in him, so that he can go to the next level. And I'll tell you this, and it may be just me, this is just my opinion. For some reason, I just don't feel like Dak is really the leader of his team. He's the quarterback. He's the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. But there's a difference between a quarterback who's a leader and a quarterback who's just playing on a team. And I feel like he's somewhere in the middle. I'm not saying he's not a leader or can be. I just feel like he's not really leading the Cowboys. But that's just my personal take. So, shout out to Serious Bit, says, I'll be real about him. We got to get you on the cam, bro. We got to get you on the cam. All right. Let's get into the stats. Last season, Dallas Cowboys scored 27.5 versus the opponent's 20.1. Total points, 467 versus 342. Total touchdowns, 55 versus 35. Total first downs, 347 versus 327. Rushing first downs, 129 versus 119. Passing first downs, 194 versus 174. First down by penalty, 24. Third down efficiency, 105 versus 231. 45% third down completion. Fourth down efficiency was 10 for 19, 52.63%. Getting into the passing, 355 passes on 556 attempts. Net passing yards, 3,736. 7 yards per attempt, 219.8 net passing yards per game. Passing touchdowns, 28 versus 23. Interceptions, we just talked about that earlier, 18 versus 16. Sacks and then yards lost, 27 and 175 yards lost. So, on to the rushing. 531 versus 497. Rushing yards, 2,298. 4.3 on the rush attempts, yards per rush attempt. 135.2 yards per game rushing. Rushing touchdowns, 24 and 9. Let's go over to the penalties. 104 total yards as far as for penalties. Average yards per game. Lost in penalties, 49. Time of possession, 29-37. So a lot to unpack there. But if we break it down by individual, which We're going to do it. This thing wants to work. It doesn't want to work. No, Jay, I don't want to do that for you. All right, here we go. Let's get into Dak. Now, obviously, you guys know he was injured. So we're just going to break this down. Last season. All right, so 2,860 yards, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He ended the season 12th with a QBR of 57.9. Average was 7.3. 20 sacks. So 261 completions on 394 attempts. It's really tough. And I'll tell you this. Obviously, we can say that he had a less productive year because he was injured. Fine. But if you just look at the previous years, even 2021, 410 attempts, 596 completions, 596 attempts, 68.8 on the completion percentage, 4,449 yards. That was actually his second best year out of his career. Average 7.5, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 30 sacks. QBR was 60.5. I mean, you could say over the last 3 years he's been consistent, but he hasn't elevated. He hasn't gotten better. And if you guys remember last year when Mr. Cooper Rush came in, I was actually kind of excited for the Cowboys. I was hoping that Cooper Rush would come in there and he'd make a difference and show up. Which he did. He came in, he played fairly well. And then, started to slow down before Dak came back in. But, I really think that Cooper had things figured out for a little bit. And he just needed some more time playing. Will the Cowboys move on from Dak and give Cooper Rush the opportunity to put the team on his shoulders? Probably not, unless Dak gets severely injured again. But hey, you never know. Shout out to Haynes. What's up, man? What's going on with you? Al Bundy says Zeke looks slow in that offensive clip he posted. Yeah, there's a lot to get into with Zeke. There was actually conversations I was listening to earlier about whether or not him joining the Jets, going over to the Patriots, all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure what happens with Zeke. I think he wants too much money. Obviously, once I know what's going on with Zeke, we'll get into that. But to me, Tony Pollard's better. He's more hungry. He put up exceptional numbers, which we'll actually go ahead and get to that, Mr. Tony Pollard. All right, so 193 carries, 1,007 yards, 9 touchdowns. He averaged 5.2. Didn't fumble, didn't lose any, 3 touchdowns. And this was, that's his average. So, 9.5 on the average right there. You can't beat that. And I get why the Cowboys decided to go with Tony Pollard over Zeke. Zeke, in a sense, he got the bag, he got the money, and then, he started eating, getting relaxed on that bench. That's what happens. When you lose that fight, you lose that hunger. And I think that's problematic too, because when you decide to pay somebody what they're worth, is the work ethic going to change when they get the paycheck? And I kind of think that's possibly that's what happened with Zeke. Was it more so about getting the ring, or was it more so about getting the money, or the money and the ring? Right? I respect you if you're trying to hustle and get the bag, right? Everybody wants to get the bag, but you still got to go out there and ball so you can get the ring as well. Al Bundy says Tony is excellent. Yes, he is. Khalil Herbert averaged 5.2. Serious Biz says that soup is filling, huh? That soup is definitely filling. As far as the wide receivers go, you guys know about those wide receivers. Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup. Obviously, we have Jake Ferguson on the tight end. Left tackle is going to be Tyron Smith. Left guard, Tyler Smith. Center is Tyler Baedes. Right guard is going to be Zach Martin. And right tackle, Terrence Steele. CeeDee Lamb was basically so utilized last year. I forgot that anybody else even played for the Cowboys. We'll bring that up. This man had 107 receptions on 1,359 yards, 9 touchdowns, averaged 12.7. He had the most yards of all receivers, but if you go look at their stats, we'll use Gallup as an example. It's kind of interesting. 39 receptions, 424 yards. It's under half. Maybe if the Cowboys offensive coordinator figure out some plays in regards to spreading the ball out more, you wouldn't have had so many issues as far as with interceptions. If we know that he's always going to a specific wide receiver, we're going to make sure that we watch where his eyes are going, make sure we push up the safety so they can come in and play better defense. Hey, are those linebackers going to be out there watching Gallup when he knows you're not going to pass it to him? Obviously not. So, hey. Serious Biz says steady eating, not competing. Listen, and that's not to take away from CeeDee Lamb, right? If the ball's being thrown his way, he's obviously going to cook. That's what he's supposed to do. Feed me the ball. I'm gonna get my numbers. But I definitely think the ball should have been spread out a lot more than what it was, considering he got all the yardage. And sometimes that creates strife in the offense itself. That creates problems in the locker room when one wide receiver is getting all the receptions and all the yards. Looking at you, Stephon Diggs. All right. All right, so as far as the offensive line goes, obviously we end that with Terrence Steele. Getting into the defense, DeMarcus Lawrence, Mozzie Smith, Osa Odezula, Micah Parsons, who had a strong year, Leighton Vander Esch as well, Damone Clark, Jabril Cox had a great year, Stephon Gilmore, who's moved around, Jerron Kearse, Donovan Wilson, and the other Diggs, Trayvon Diggs. Now, there's not really much bad that I can say about this defense. They were ridiculously good, and I think at the beginning of the season last year, a lot of people were scared to play against them because they knew that the Cowboys defense was without a doubt ready to go, ready to demolish and crush the competition. Especially Micah Parsons, he balled out. Now, how that fares with the offense is always what comes into question. Yes, if your offense can keep you, in the game close enough, then the offense is going to step up and potentially help you win the game. But I feel like the defense had to do more than the offense last year, and that's why the Cowboys didn't have the opportunities that they did. Shout out to Bundy, says, Cooks and Gilmore were great additions. Both a bit old and past their prime, but still productive. Cooks helps out Trash Scott because he will stretch the field a lot. Well, it goes back to what I said. Is he going to keep going to CeeDee Lamb, or is he actually going to get him the ball? That's the question. But yeah, Cooks is definitely going to, he's a good, solid receiver. He's got great hands. He's still, he's past his prime, but he does have that speed. That's why they picked him up. And then, of course, Gilmore, Mr. Patriot, who was obviously on the Bills before that. This was during that time. Remember when we take somebody who's really good. Bill Belichick would find someone who was like just okay on a different team and bring them over, and they'd just be astronomically better on the Patriots. Well, that was Stephon Gilmore. So, but now he's with the Cowboys. So, yeah. Shout out to Immortal, says solid defense. They gave Justin Fields fits. Yes, they did. Definitely did. All right, so that's going to be your defense for the 2023-2024 NFL season for the Cowboys. Moving on to the special teams, punt kicker is going to be Tristan Vizcano. Second is going to be Brady Aubrey. Brian Anger. And then your kick return is Cavante Turpin. Long snapper is going to be Trent Sieg. Sieg or Siege? I'm guessing it's Sieg, but hey. Getting to the schedule, let's look back at last year. All right, preseason, so they won against the Buccaneers, 31-14, lost to the 49ers. And then getting into the regular season, lost to Tampa Bay, 19-3 with Prescott, 134 yards. Elliott had 52 yards on the rush, 68 on the receptions for Brown. Won against the Bengals with rush. Won against the Giants with rush. Won against the Commanders with rush. And then the Rams. And then lost to the Eagles, in which Prescott came back off his injury. He then beat the Lions, the Bears, which was a big one. Shout out to Myrtle. And then lost to Green Bay, 31-28 in overtime. Went on to win against the Vikings, the Giants, the Colts, Texans. Lost to the Jaguars, 40-34 in overtime. Won against the Eagles, won against the Titans, and then lost to the Commanders, 26-6. Wow. All right, so Fred Lucky says Dallas is going to be 9-8. Let's look at it. Let's see. All right, week 1, New York Giants. Danny Dimes is I don't think he was what everyone thought he was going to be. I think he became better. I think what's in question right now is obviously Saquon Barkley's contract. There was talks that his contract would potentially make him miss a game or two or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure they'll probably have that all figured out before week 1, but that was the current conversation. With that said, the Giants have a lot going for them. I definitely think this is going to be a good first week game. For me, it's going to be a toss-up. It really is. I think it's that even. Shout out to Jerry Fuentes. Says Tony is definitely better than Zeke. What up, Jay? It's been a while. Shout out to you, Jerry. Much love, man. Shout out to you for coming through. Much love. Thank you for the support. Make sure you guys are smashing out like that thumbs up as we continue on. All right, week 2. It's going to be against the Jets, Mr. Aaron Rodgers and company. This is another one. This is not going to be an easy 2 games for the Cowboys. With that said, there's more chemistry between Prescott and company opposed to Aaron Rodgers, so I do think that they may actually have the edge on this one. Arizona Cardinals, I think this would be an easy victory for the Cowboys. Back to the Patriots, whether or not Bill Belichick has studied enough tape in the first 3 weeks to figure out how he's going to stop Dak Prescott with his defense. I'm going to go ahead and give that one to the Cowboys as well. 49ers, I don't trust Trey Lance. I just don't. But that doesn't discredit everyone else on that team. They have a great defense, solid offense. You guys seen what they did last year. Does Trey Lance have talent and skill? Sure, but I just haven't seen enough of it. That's the problem. With that said, I'm still going to have to go San Francisco. Another great game, week 6, is going to be against the Chargers. Herbert and company, I think it's going to be another dogfight. I'll give this one to the Cowboys. I'll give that one to the Cowboys. Al Bundy says Danny Dimes won't be doing anything if Giants don't sign Saquon. I agree. You're going to need Saquon back there. And Saquon knows that, so that's why he's playing the game that he's playing right now. Wait, listen, get your money, get your bag. When you do a good job, get it. But the problem with Saquon is injuries. So, that front office is looking at that like, well, hey, you want this amount of money, but we know about your injuries, so we got to figure this thing out. But you're right. So, yeah, I definitely think Cowboys may take week 6 against the Chargers. They'll go on a bye week 7. Playing against the Rams week 8, I think they'll take that one. Week 9, they'll go against the Eagles. I'm going to go towards the Eagles on this one. Week 10, they'll rematch with the Giants. Once again, whether or not Giants have that core offense, I'm going to have to go with Cowboys here. Carolina Panthers, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Commanders, different quarterback this year. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same kind of situation. I'm going to go Cowboys against the Commanders. Against the Seahawks, I think Geno may take care of business. Seahawks are nothing to play with. They're definitely a sleeper team. Can't wait to talk about them. Week 14, they'll play the Eagles again. I'm going to go Eagles there. Bills Mafia, you already know. Week 15, going my Bills. Week 16, Miami. It's going to get tough. If Tua is at 100%, I don't think Cowboys win this game. Detroit Lions, this is a questionable one. Monday Night Football, Jared Goff and company, they're coming to play. They're strong this year. This is going to be a great one. I think it's another toss-up. And then I think the Cowboys will finish off winning Week 18 against the Commanders. Shout out to Bob Evans. What's up, man? Cowboys fan in the house. I didn't beat you guys up too much. I didn't beat them up too much. Preseason, which is going to start 8-12, they'll play Jacksonville. 8-19, they'll play Seattle. And then 8-26, they'll play Las Vegas. And that'll be preseason starting in August. So, I mean, for the most part, this is a mixed schedule. I got them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got them for 8. I got them for 8. I know someone's mad out there. Someone's going to throw something at their computer screen, or they're going to go burn a jersey, or they're going to go break one of their TVs in their house, because that's what Cowboys fans do. I love y'all, though. But that's just the reality of it. I've got 8. I don't see a playoff run. They would have to do something magical. They'd have to do something magical against the 49ers, the Eagles. So, yeah. Yeah. Yo, y'all making me laugh. I was trying to hold it in. Listen, y'all know how them Cowboys fans be. Don't play. You seen the tapes. You seen the videos on social media. Boys is nuts. Shout out to you, Bob. It's on the way, bro. It's on the way. You guys know. I've been holding out, Bob, because I know once you get it, you're probably gonna burn it. So I've been holding out. That's why I want to make sure that you have it for week 1 at least. I don't want you to burn it before week 1. So you'll have it before then. Don't worry. Shout out to Fred Lucky. What's up, man? Listen. I got them for 8. They could do more. It's going to be whether or not they can get past these tough teams. All right. If they can get past the Eagles, if they can get past the Bills, Miami, then hey, they might make it to the postseason. I say your X factor is Dak Prescott. Can he, stay healthy? And obviously, can he find that dog in him? Can he find that dog